been talking about the relevant 3. We're going to go on to resonant 6. Before we do, the relevance of 3 has always been to sustain a value point of 1. And so that 1 is something. I think that's how I started my last video, out of just nowhere. It means something. You're not really in 4 dimensions. You are in a quattro force, otherwise you wouldn't be feeling something. And right now we're just going to kind of leave that as a 3D relevance of how relevant are you as a frequency in time and space. What is time and space? Maybe we should cover that real quick before we go into the resonance. You don't resonate as a quantification of your existence. Vibration doesn't just vibrate to your accord. It does if you put music to fan. You apply vibration and it's going to go to that vibration. But I'm talking about the vibration that's always existing. What do things do? That's resonance. And that is a water content. Because the water is always, and we'll get into that into the 6. So time and any space that we allow into that conveyance of time is only a measurement of, like I said in my last video, is the force presence that we say that we're existing as. And is that something that we intellectualize ourselves to as a thought, or is something more? Does more have to be a question mark? I don't think so. Because there's always something that you must experience. Because the Xing is always occurring, because chirality is always there. It's important to know that time and space, if we constrict it in any way that we're thinking of the moment to look at something, then you can't even look at time. Because time is the essence of meaning, but meaning can only be what you make of it. Hopefully love. It's not a, and that has no judgment, it's just a higher frequency. When I start talking about the resonance 6, it's very important to know that this is coming from sensing what the force power of the intellect is actually intellectualizing too. So it's not. I know that I would call it a force field because then you might get into a context of what that actually means to you. It would mean something intellectually if you, oh, that's what a force field means. That's what it means to you. When you're in the force of the moment, what is the force field? Does it have any? Do we have to quantify it at all? No, it's you against it. That's one thing that's happening at all times. Cycle of life, yes, but we're talking about the moment and what the intellect can do in the moment, not, well, that's coming. Well, it's coming at the pace that you say it's coming at. So the resonance of 6 within the actuality that's happening all the time, not just what you're going to allow in your own mind body, is something that just, it has to happen. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going north, up, north static. So the first thing we'll talk about is the actual south of north, which is what Walter Russell, I think, was really pointing at. You better know your south, or you're not going to know where up is. What is the electromagnetic field? What is it going to? What's it bouncing off of? What is the totality of the whole? That's what it's looking for from the field. Is that something that you quantify here? You can't. You don't. It's a frequency that's innate. Where does the self say the self knows and the self says self is? Where is it okay to say self is self or I am? So that point charge, the point charge that's actually existing, I'm here, you're there, and there's people over here, and we create things and make things. That actuality is happening. So the physics of that happening and that happening over time is we call it history of time, but it's a frequency of existence. So the resonance 6 is the compression factor of that existence. And it comes from what the water is actually experiencing as a charge. So under that point charge, once again, we'll do Earth, do a little bit better horizon. Connection to Earth is relevant. Why? Because it's just how we exist. Do we exist in water? No. Water is another force with different nomenclature to it. Different animals, whole different nomenclature. So if you look at the gestation period of anything, it's a 3 of everything. Water is 1 mass. Air. So the relevance of 6 that was amplified in putting attention on the 3 once again. So the resonance factor to be able to sense more of this connection to what the Earth is actually feeling. So let's say that the Earth, to be a resonance factor, there has to be 2 points. Let's get this over with. There has to be 2 points of charge. The frequency exchange. That this is actually existing. There's something happening there. There's a charge. And that charge is automatically has a polar experience, which is already connected there. Where it wants to go, or where it's going, where that frequency going is, that's the other part of this X. And that comes through the human intellect. It actually has some sort of sensing of where it's going, which means it also has a certain what needs to be done in its connection to Earth to accomplish so-said task. So we think, as a mind, we're thinking that we're just sitting on Earth, where from a frequency or from more attention on charge, you're never just sitting, you're always occurring kind of like a plant. Plants, but we're not a rock either. We don't have to have power. I'm not going to get up on that right now. That's technology. So we're going to stay with resonance 6, because resonance 6 is the physics, the main physics that we got to work with as a human intellect, is what we can do now. So yes, who you are, yes, you listen to people that know what they're saying. Yes, all this is there, but you must take care of your own self and be responsible to self and self. Whatever that is, the most that attention can convey to self, and still be relevant to always the reality of things. So the resonance of 6 is what would resonate to. So the actuality is what's happening. So a resonance factor is what actually is happening between the frequency exchange between those 2 units. So a frequency exchange is where the 2 to 1 comes from. So let's talk about that real quick. And you'll see it in the work. I always point over there because the computer's over there. So the 2 to 1 frequency exchange of a charge, unit charge, Earth is occurring as a charge unit. DNA is occurring somehow as a charge unit. Don't have answers to everything. And that charge unit has the flowing of that whole thing through the celestial body, which is what I'm just saying as a kind of use that as a whole at this point in time. That one charge has from the intellect, the conveyance to experience. It's a 2-to-1 frequency exchange, always. So that's where the chirality comes in the charge. So I just want to bring that clarity. That's just where the intellect kind of senses from, and that's why we're fascinated with it. The chirality is not demanded by the fascination with one side or the other. The force of chirality is within the experience of the sensing of those three things within the four. And so the intellect uses different sensing, it uses its intellect differently within the sensing of that. So then the questions and answers, anything that we'd be looking for might be a little bit different. So the sensing of our connection to an electromagnetic field, or it doesn't matter at this point. I'm just trying to express the resonance of 6 within the universal, how things work, is something that it's always existing within nature, which is how the 369 works. It is where the production, it's where the push factor comes. I think I already said it's where the push factor comes. So it's where all production comes from. So I just want to get down to it. We don't need to really talk about a whole bunch of fancies around the number 6 and da-da-da-da-da. That's just a reference point to 6 within the universe. Universal numbers system. So 6 is what? It's at this angle. 3 was at the... Well, 3 was at this angle. We'll get into the wave 9. It's what we're existing at. The ceiling. This is the ceiling. There's the endpoint. So the resonance of 6 is that power unit or the power grade of the frequency unit charge. So resonance 6, what I'm pointing at. I think I have electromagnetic underneath that particular. None of this is how I kind of have it organized. They're all occurring at the same time. The electrostatic of your relevance is how far you're willing to experience yourself. And the electrostatic and that's where the water comes in. And I know we don't know enough about water, so that's where that would change how we would feel things around the universal way things work. Because the numbers don't allow water to work. The way they set up within quantifiable science don't allow water. Are we creating technology does it have any connection to water? So to have technology that would have any reference point to a charge-based production factor, it would be different. Once again, do we live in water? No, we do not. Is water a factor of resonance? Yes. Do we know enough about water? Probably not. So those are things we can do. So to start studying the resonance or the physics from knowing that it's a charge-based thing, and it's coming. People are really knowing that you can follow the outlays. I already said that the last time. All land and water follow charge. Follow charge. They're created around charge. We're created around charge. The gestation period of human beings is created around charge. 3 mesenchymes. I can't get off on it because it doesn't. Once again, knowing it doesn't matter. It's what the actual intellectual experience. There's people I hope that know more than me, and can bring this together with the intellect of some technology starts to express itself as a whole, as a resonance factor that starts to do more as it's produced instead of needing something. So where I'm at in Hawaii, you don't want to need something because you're not going to get it unless you're responsible. So resonance 6 is that factor of what you're willing to do. So my factor of what I'm willing to do is different from and that's not the point. I'm going to put this down because we're going to get onto something else. So the resonance act of an intellect is what it is. This gets to where the attention is what it's willing to do, and the willing has to do what they desire. So that's you'll see it in my work, and we'll put that one up. That's where the intellect is kind of going. Okay, I've got this coming at me, but I've got this inside me that feels this. I feel this tug. So that's a quattro force right there. We look at something, but we've always got something going on. So when your attention is on one thing, it has to bring all those compartments into what? That you understand them all? No. But that you can feel no obligation to have to understand why they're existing the fuck they are. Until you do. But to just stay in a resonance that is natural, which is what nature does. That's what I'm trying to convey. Is resonance 6 is something that's in nature. It's doing that. Human intellect is somehow it's not wanting to. And that's, once again, what I'm pointing at is from a DNA frequency, looking at the intellect going, if it's only got this much, and I'm not going to look at it from just an intellectual, I'm expressing this really, experiencing the potential of what frequency is as a force, that it can change and alter the expression of what the charge is experiencing. In this case here, it goes for a full body over. So resonance for the human can't be compartmentalized from all that's happening within all that is. In this case here, we're talking about Earth. And I lost myself. We're going to have to come back.